So it is looking increasingly likely that we could be facing an all-out war, huge escalation between Israel and Hezbollah. Yesterday, Emily and I told you about some of the provocations from Israel, talking about all-out war, talking about how they've already developed a quote-unquote operational plan. Now we have some new updates from the Hezbollah side. Let's put this up on the screen. So this is from a Reuters reporter who says, these alerts are hitting Reuters Wire right now. Lebanon's Hezbollah chief, Saeed Hassan Nasrallah, says nowhere in Israel will be safe from groups' attacks in case of war, including targets in the Mediterranean. Hezbollah head also says if war is imposed on Lebanon, the group will fight with no rules, no ceilings, and saying that Cyprus allowing Israel use of its airports means that it has become a part of the war and that Hezbollah will deal with it as such, that, potentially having the possibility of drawing a part of the EU into this war as well. And Saagar, we've been seeing this potentially coming for a while because basically there aren't a lot of parts of the Gaza Strip left to destroy. They started in the north, they moved down to the center, now they're in the south in Rafah. That annihilation will be complete imminently. And Bibi Netanyahu still has the same logic of how do I keep this war going as long as I possibly can. He also has the secondary logic of how can I also get the U.S. directly involved on our side in this possible war against Hezbollah. And already there's been, back and forth sort of tit for tat attacks. You also had yesterday that we brought you to, Hezbollah released drone footage that they were able to obtain of sensitive targets in Haifa in particular, sort of an acknowledgement of, hey, you think your Iron Dome is so incredible? Well, guess what? We were able to get our drones past it. And if we can do that, guess what else we can do? The U.S. had somebody described as a senior advisor, but I'd never heard of this dude before. Amos
Hochstein.
Have you,
yes.
you know who this person
A
is?
little bit. He's like a
special envoy, quote unquote.
Right.
Anyway, they had him in the region to supposedly try to ratchet down the tensions and talk them out of this all-out war that doesn't seem to have made a lick of difference. You will be unsurprised to learn, since Bibi has learned very well at this point, Biden isn't actually going to do anything besides tough conversations and little, mean leaks to the press, et cetera. We'll have more on that in a moment. But Saagar, what do you make of these recent developments?
It's terrifying because for the Israelis, they are either delusional or their confidence is far higher than it should be. Considering their performance—
Things are related.
Yeah. Considering their performance in Gaza, a bunch of guys who basically just bomb first, ask questions later, have shown no real, in actual, tactical proficiency. Not according to me. You can go and speak to people who are actually experts about this stuff. What in the world makes you think that you can take on Hezbollah, which is a genuine paramilitary force, which has been training and actually engage in active combat, probably in some cases since before many of these IDF reservists are even born. They've fought through the entire Civil War. They are strapped better today than they ever have been in all of their history. Iran has every incentive to make sure that they have the most up-to-date weaponry. If you consider their rockets, like these Hamas rockets versus the actual stuff that they have, it's apples and oranges. It's totally different. Their ability, already, even if you just look at death toll, there have been proportionally way more Israeli soldiers who were killed already from Hezbollah fire than compared to anything proportionally with respect to how vulnerable they are with Hamas. It's also pretty clear here. Look, Hezbollah, they don't want to be involved in this. They said from the original after October 7th, they're like, look, they're posturing, but Nasrallah was like, we're not getting involved in this. Now, the tit for tat, we bomb one here, they fire here, and anti-tank missiles kill 3 IDF soldiers. They kill 20 Hezbollah guys in an airstrike. Then there's more fire that's happening. And now this war cabinet, green lights. Things are very, very dangerous because what does it mean? Is it the whole country of Lebanon? It would almost certainly also draw Iran much further into the war through this. They have— it's complicated, but they at least have an understanding of a lot of mutual support. Then, U.S. targets, like you said, Cyprus, which thank God is not in NATO, at least for now, while these idiots are in charge, but it is in the European Union, so that would obviously, be very significant. And I also shouldn't forget this, this whole Houthi stuff. I mean, look at the Houthis are probably less sophisticated than Hezbollah.
Yeah.
They have shut down the Red Sea.
Yeah.
So are we just all gonna forget about that?
They just sank another ship.
Yes, and 91% or whatever of Red Sea traffic is down from October 7th.
Yeah, it's been rerouted.
This has been a total failure. The U.S. mission to clear the Red Sea has not worked because, I think I even said this at the time, if you actually want to do this, you need to militarily occupy Yemen and actually secure the ground. That's not going to happen.
Let's not do that.
Yeah, let's not. By the way, I don't think we should do that. I think we have a better option.
Yeah. Well, the better option is to end Israel's assault on Gaza, because that is the root of all of these conflicts.
Yes.
It's the reason the Houthis are doing what they're doing. It's the reason that Hezbollah is doing what they're doing. The reason Iran did what they did is because of Israel's direct provocation attacking their embassy in Damascus. But all of these tensions and conflicts stem from one issue, and really from one imperative, which has nothing to do with Israeli security at this point and everything to do with Bibi Netanyahu and his political motives and incentives. I should add to that also the incredible manifest weakness and incredible capacity for humiliation on Joe Biden's part specifically. I mean, the Houthi thing, you'll recall, we played his comments when they asked him, hey, is this working?
Yeah, he said no.
And he's like, no, but is it gonna continue? Yes. It's like, what are we doing? This is complete and utter insanity. So do you have confidence that these weak-kneed idiots are going to be able to keep us out of a more direct engagement in this mess that has been created in the region? I certainly don't have that confidence. The other piece, that contributes and is important context with all of this is, you'll recall, we covered Bibi put out that video where, in spite of the bear hug, in spite of Biden giving him everything he wants whenever he wants it, he stabs Biden in the back, puts out this video attacking him, claiming he's not getting the weapons and the ammo that he wants when he wants it. And the Biden administration is reportedly, they're baffled, they're shocked by this, which is like, why are you shocked? Bibi wants Trump in office. He's happy to knife you. Like, he's only operating for his own interest. You've demonstrated no capacity to check him whatsoever, so I don't know why you're surprised at this point. But even beyond that, now, instead of being like, well, screw you, then maybe we are if you're gonna blame us for blocking shipments, like maybe we should go ahead and do that. Instead, no, we're sorry, we'll get you everything you want whenever you want it. Put this up on the screen. U.S. Ambassador to Israel, Jack Lew, told Prime Minister Netanyahu yesterday, the ammo and weapons the PM referred to, they're in the process of being delivered to Israel. Don't worry, guys, we promise. The other thing that is, I guess you either laugh or you cry, is there were these typical reports, there's tough conversations, and the Biden administration is just so mad about this video. They canceled a meeting that was gonna happen. And it was like, you canceled a meeting. Well, now they're even denying that no, we would never cancel a meeting. We would never do that to the Israelis. Put this up on the screen. This is so embarrassing. Just from the Times of Israel, U.S. denies report. It canceled talks in D.C. over Netanyahu's complaint of weapons holdup. Here's the White House official quote. They say, as we said in the briefing yesterday, we have no idea what the prime minister is talking about, but that's not a reason for rescheduling a meeting. We would never do something so brazen and so audacious as reschedule a meeting. It's just so pathetic. You literally can't even make it up at this point, Saagar.
It's crazy. They're like, wait, we would never do that. How outrageous. It's like, wait, why not?
The response, it was already such a pathetic response. Oh, you canceled a meeting. Ooh.
Even if you did.
Ooh, you're going to leave him on red on his text messages next time.
Yeah, do it. You actually should. It wouldn't be a bad idea, just to show him who's boss. That's part of the other thing, too. When you look at Bibi's video, on the one hand, you could be like, wow, he's calling out America. He has all the strength because the U.S. immediately is like, no, we would never do that. On the other, he's like, hey, you need to give us the weapons to finish the job. What does that mean? They don't have the weapons to finish the job.
Yeah.
So you're like, wait, what? what are we admitting here in terms of what the power relationship is?
That is a great
Who's
point.
paying for it?
That is
because
a great point.
if you can't finish the job without American weapons, well, you're kind of validating a lot of the critics here in Washington, which is that this is bankrolled and almost 100% enabled by the United States. So you know, for all of those you who are out there, that's a very critical thing in your rhetorical quiver. You're like, he said it. He admitted it on tape. We need the weapons. There's no other way to do it.
That is a great point, because I'm sure you guys have heard this argument. It's just been made throughout. Like, Israel's a sovereign country. What could Joe Biden even really do? They're going to do what they want to do. Oh, really? Turns out maybe we do have a little bit of power if we would want to use them. But of course we don't. Instead, we're apologizing. Oh, I'm sorry if I maybe upset you, BB. There was one shipment of 500 2,000-pound bombs that was delayed. Okay, not even we're not going to send it. It was delayed. And this is the meltdown that you get. It's insane. But Bibi, every time that he seems to stand up to the U.S. domestically, he benefits from that. So that's what he's doing here. Also, don't forget, he's got his visit and his speech to Congress, invited on a bipartisan basis that is upcoming. And it's like, Democrats, this is the guy you invited to come and have this high honor of speaking to Congress. Like, congratulations, because I don't know who you thought Bibi Netanyahu was. Maybe you should go ask some Israelis who this man is and what he is capable of, because you seem to be completely in the dark about that. At the same time, this is extraordinary as well. Put this up on the screen. So the IDF spokesman, I know you've seen this guy, Daniel Hagari, he has rebuked Netanyahu. He is admitting that defeating Hamas is impossible. Let me read you a good bit of this. He said in an interview with Channel 13 News on Wednesday in Israel that, quote, the idea of destroying Hamas is simply throwing sand in the eyes of the public. In other words, if anyone who's saying that you can destroy Hamas, you're lying to the public. It's not possible. He goes on to say, Hamas is an idea. Hamas is a political party. It is rooted in the hearts of people. Whoever thinks we can eliminate Hamas is mistaken. Hamas is the Muslim Brotherhood. It's been around for many, many years. What can be done is to develop something else to replace it, something that will make the population realize that someone else is distributing the food, someone else is taking care of public services. To really weaken Hamas, this is the way. Now, none of what he's saying here requires a genius to see. This is very similar to things we've been saying since October 7th, right? About the way you should actually approach this and the idea that you're going to completely eliminate and destroy Hamas and how that is completely impossible. That supposed goal has simply been used as a pretext and as cover for the campaign of utter devastation and destruction that has been wrought in the Gaza Strip. And I'm not trying to give Daniel Hagari here any flowers for coming up with this notion at this point, but to see the IDF spokesperson, coming out and this directly rebuking Bibi Netanyahu is quite significant in terms of an Israeli domestic context. It also echoes things that, Benny Gantz and others has said. Gantz, as he left the war cabinet government. Let's go ahead and put the next piece up on the screen. This is Bibi's response. He said on Wednesday that the Security Cabinet defined one of the war's goals as the destruction of Hamas's military and governing capabilities, and that the Israeli army is, of course, obligated to this. Daniel Hagari then came out and said, oh, yeah, of course, we're going to do, whatever you want us to do. But what do you make of this, this acknowledgement in the Israeli press that Bibi's full of it? There's no defeating Hamas, no complete elimination of Hamas. That is not on the table. And by the way, implicitly in these comments too, the way that we've approached this with just utter destruction and not supporting any sort of, aid delivery, certainly not bolstering any other group that could fill in the governing capacity that Hamas has been fulfilling, has been a dire mistake and a disaster.
I mean, it doesn't really matter what I make of it. The Israeli, as usual, this stuff doesn't even cross the blood-brain barrier. It's just left. It's left over there on Israeli soil, even though they write it in English, and then it's not even allowed to be discussed here. And that's part of what drives me most insane about everything, is that when you read the Israeli press in general, you almost get a more honest view of what is happening. You can even cite their own sources, but it won't matter because Pastor Hagee Hagee said something different. That's the world we're living in, folks. I mean, it really is.
Did Rabbi Shmuley sign off on these comments?
Pastor Hagee, freaking, those are the folks that really, AIPAC, John Greenblatt over at the ADL, those are the folks who actually control all of our discourse around this foreign country. So as long as that's the case, it doesn't even matter what I make of it. Obviously, it's real. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to figure it out, but it almost doesn't matter. It almost doesn't matter at all. No, it is true. And it's such a great point that, like, you know, if you or I say the whole, how could you, or like Hamas talking points, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, this side of me is really pressed. Okay.
And not just Israeli, but the spokesman of the IDF.
It doesn't matter.
And in additional comments, he talked about how in that same interview, there is no military solution to getting the hostages back. The only way to get the hostages back is through negotiations. Again, something that is completely clear and apparent from anyone who is watching this conflict and being remotely honest with themselves. But another thing that, you know, people here pretend in the media pretend not to understand and not to acknowledge, and they just, you know, use the hostages as emotional manipulation to pretend that the war has to go on forever, when the hostage families themselves are saying, no, we want a deal to end the war and get our family and our loved ones back. We don't want them to be continually subjected, by the way, to IDF bombing, which one of the rescued hostages said was the thing that he was most afraid of when he was being held in captivity. So it's extraordinary to see the IDF spokesman admit things that you were really not allowed to admit in the context of the Western media here in the US.
Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show ad-free and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
That's right. Get the full show, help support the future of independent media at breakingpoints.com.